I grew up in a home with two younger sisters and both my parents living at home. I loved cheering when I was younger, cheer, dance, all the things. And I cheered for school. I also cheered for an all-star gym. I had a pretty kind of average life, child that got to go to Disney World and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. I'm in college now, and yeah, I struggled a lot with self-esteem in middle school and early high school, and I ended up starting to worry a lot more, and my thoughts became consumed with worry. And then my junior year, a traumatic event happened. My parents ended up deciding to split, and it's been an ongoing process. My dad has turned out to be a not very good person, with just the way he would speak to us and the way he treated my mother. Still to this day, the way he treats my mother. And so right now it's kind of been my sisters and my mom and I against the world. The worry ended up starting my freshman year of high school, and I just became consumed with my test scores and constantly trying to prove my worth to mainly my father, because I never got the good job, I'm proud of you, until I had something to show for it. And when my parents ended up deciding to split my junior year of high school, that's when everything kind of imploded. And my foundations were shaken, and it felt like all hope was lost. This image I had of my perfect family was just kind of shattered within an instant. And I still remember to this day when my parents sat us down and said, "Hey, we're deciding to split up." And it was for the first 6 months, it was an on and off process. And my dad, to this day, has not admitted what he's done to cause the separation to happen. And now they're in the process of going for divorce. It's been about 3 years now, and life has not gotten any easier, but I know I've gotten stronger within it. Looking back, early high school, the worry was anxiety, but it wasn't as significant as it is nowadays. And I've struggled with panic attacks ever since that's happened, or since my parents' splitting has happened. And I tried to look for escapes among other things, and nothing ever was enough. I never could really get away from it, and being the oldest of 3 siblings I feel like there's a lot more for me to carry, because I'm seeing majority of it with my mom opening up to me, and seeing the way it affects my younger sisters and wanting to protect them. And so yeah, it's mainly been in the forms of anxiety, panic attacks, and trying to find escape in other things. The lies that I hear during those times of panic and anxiety are that you're not enough, that you're not loved, you have no friends, that you don't deserve to be here, that you're not strong. Just a lot of really heavy, deep, negative lies that can get very, very overwhelming at times. Early on, I didn't really have a lot of people to confide in. I didn't really realize the power that vulnerability holds in breaking off these heavy lies in your life until my senior year of high school, when I started my internship at Pathway Community Church under Isaac Norris, and I finally felt this compelling sense to let someone in. Until then, it had kind of been my childhood. My dad kind of raised the 3 of us as like, we don't tell people about our problems, we keep it all inside, and I'm only allowed to be happy, and when I'm angry or sad, I get punished for that, and I shouldn't express those feelings out loud. And so freshman, sophomore, and even junior year, I tried to hide it. And I had a couple people in my life that could really tell that something was going on, and just said, "Hey, I'm here for you. Like, no matter what it looks like, I'm here for you." And I eventually opened up to my best friend, but then Isaac Norris came along, and that's when I realized, like, it's okay to let people in. It's scary, it's terrifying, because we're all afraid of judgment. But in reality, it's letting people in puts light on the lies that have been fed in your head for so long that it gives you strength to start to overcome those things. I think that people keep these secret struggles and hold things in because we're afraid of what people will think of us. Because in today's society, we're all supposed to be perfect. But in reality, no one is. We all have these broken things that are hidden away that we don't want anyone else to know about, because these things that help shape us to who we are seem like they're broken, and we're not supposed to be broken. But in reality, all of us are, but we're trying to say that we're not. When you find the right people, they will respond with compassion when you open up about the secret struggles that you have going on. They will respond with compassion and gentleness. And I know I find myself trying to do that nowadays too, because I've realized that's what I needed in that moment. That when people open up to me, whether it's when I'm a small group leader at church or just having an underclassman open up to me about something going on in their life, I am able to respond with that compassion that I needed, and I thankfully was able to receive from others when I've opened up, and people have asked, how can I help? And I think that in a lot of those moments when you are struggling, you don't know exactly what it is, but I've found in those moments having people just who can sit with you in the brokenness and provide company. And because when you're in these broken states and things are really hard in your life, it's so easy for us to try and pull into our shell and isolate from the world. But that's when those thoughts that we encounter start to get really, really bad, because we're by ourselves and we're not bringing light into the situation. And so allowing people to just be with you and sit with you in the brokenness is so, so, so helpful. I know in my own life, I've had moments where I have gone down those paths and I've been so hurt, I wanted to die. But I had people who refused to leave. They said, Gracie, I'm here for you, and I love you no matter the cost. I would definitely say that the power of, once you feel confident enough, no one can push you into sharing. That's not a healthy spot, but once you feel courageous enough to share your story, that opens up the floor to others to say, hey, whether I'm struggling with the same things as well, or I'm struggling with a completely different thing, opening up the door to vulnerability allows space for others to open up their doors to vulnerability. And through that, a lot more people can be real with you. When they see the real side of you, they can be real. And because a lot of times in society, like I said previously, like we are expected to be these perfect human beings that have it all together. But in reality, we are all shattered in our own ways, trying to pick up our own pieces. And so yeah, there's definitely so much power in vulnerability. I thankfully have been connected with a counselor that I see. It used to be once or twice a week when I was very stuck in this mental state. But I've now, as I've been working probably over the course of 2 or 3 years, I've worked to seeing them once a month, and it's so, so good for you. I will always advocate to see a mental health professional, because as much as your friends may love you and they don't know practical tools, and not only is a therapist or a counselor there for you, but they also can give you these tools in your tool belt to whenever you encounter anxiety or suicidal thoughts or panic attacks or even just depression. They're these tools that you can use that help pull you out of it and give you that strength from the inside. And they help you unpack situations and process them in a healthy way, that a lot of times if we try to do it ourselves, it's not in the most healthy way. But I will always, always, always advocate to see a mental health professional. They exist for a reason, and that's to help us. My faith started out like when everything kind of exploded my junior year of high school. My faith was at a very tough spot. I didn't understand why this was happening to me, why this perfect image of my family had been blown to pieces within seconds. But I was at a stage of why God? Like, why me? Why is this happening? But I've slowly, with having people in my corner to push me towards Jesus, I've started to realize, and thankfully I've kept pushing towards Jesus, but that in the way of hoping, in putting your hope in something outside yourself puts the pressure off you. You're not in charge of finding all of this hope because you're focused, your eyes are fixed on the one who can, and the one who fights your battles for you. If you find yourself in that spot where all hope seems lost, it's not, first of all. It's not weak to get help. You are not dumb. You're not stupid to try and get this help. The only way to get out of this spot is to want to get better. And obviously, if someone has Googled stuff about anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts, they want to understand why they're feeling this way. And majority of the time, it's a chemical imbalance in their brain, which modern medicine has been created for that. And therapists, we've been given these tools right in front of us to get the help we need and to help start to recorrect that. I found my own power in that and becoming an advocate for yourself, because we're not meant to feel this way. And just bringing in a faith aspect, like if we know that the story of the resurrection of Jesus Christ is true, our stories do not end in death and disappointment. They will end in redemption and life. So you're not stuck in this spot forever. You will not be. God promises us that we will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. But we have the power ourselves, because Jesus Christ lives in us, to seek that help. And God has created these medical positions to help us try to figure out our brains. And there's always, in humans, there's always this longing for understanding why our brain is reacting the way it is. And these medical professionals and this modern medicine have kind of come together in order to help us understand why our brain's reacting the way it is. And you're not weak. Again, you're not weak for wanting help. And we all want help in our own ways, but you have to advocate for yourself in order to get it. Sadly, I wish it was that help would just come to you immediately when you're feeling sad, but you have to seek that out, and you have to want to get better. When you are finding yourself in that spot, there are companies like remedylive that we want to help you, and there are people waiting on the end of that text number that are wanting to help you get to that point of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and choose to be courageous and to seek out help. Because we at remedylive, we're here for you, and we want to help get you to that point of finally being on the other side of this dark season you find yourself in. But there are people out there that want to help you. And so I hope that you would chat into remedylive, because this is such a fantastic organization to help those who are struggling.